Welcome, everybody. This is going to be the OOTP Classic 1990s Baseball League. And as you take a look, the standings, one league, your top six go on. Every franchise in the 1990s, except for Arizona, who expanded, I believe, in 1999. And is there Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay that expanded the same sort of thing. They are not there, but we have 28 teams right now, down to 27. You play everybody 4 times. So you take a look at like the Blue Jays settings, actually info, and you see 4-game series. You play everybody in one 4-game series. These are 4-man rotations. So that's the biggest thing, the 4-man rotations. And you just never know. You never know. There are some teams like the Oakland A's in 1990 and the New York Mets in 99. You know, the Astros and the Angels, Phillies and Padres. The Blue Jays and the Expos, which we're going to start today. David Cone and Pedro Martinez. You have the White Sox and Mariners, Tigers and Twins, both of 1991. But now we're going to take a look at this now. Opening day in Montreal. As we're about ready to go, opening day. And for the Toronto Blue Jays, you have Alomar, White, Olerud, Carter, Winfield, Maldonado, Gruber, Griffin, and Alfredo Griffin and Pat Borders. David Cone. David Cone is the pitcher for the Blue Jays. Opening day, you have Marquise Grissom, Rondell White, Moises Alou, Larry Walker, Sean Berry, Darren Fletcher, Will Cordero, Randy Milligan, Mike Lansing, and Pedro Martinez, the 22-year-old rookie. This will be very big here in Olympic Stadium. So we're about ready to go. Game 1 of 108. And we're ready to go, and we're going to be underway. So Roberto Alomar will start off. Alomar, White, and Olerud in the upper left. You're going to see the teams. Here's Alomar. And Pedro Martinez to start out. Top of the first inning, we're going to take a look. And Martinez, Alomar, that's going to be to left field. And that'll be the first base hit of the day. And really of this year in this league. So now we're going to have Devon White. Pedro Martinez early on, the opening day starter at 22. Devon White, and there's a base hit. So Martinez having trouble early. And they're going to throw it all the way home. What are they going to throw it home? And he is going to be out at second. So out at second, it's going to be 1 out. So here is John Olerud. John Olerud now, first base hit of the first batter of the year. Both players above have base hits. Olerud, and that's going to be 3-0. It's going to be caught 2 outs. And I think the biggest thing for Montreal is the fact that they don't want. Here's Joe Carter. Joe Carter now for Toronto. Joe strikes out, and that's going to be it. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Toronto had their first 2 players get base hits. Thrown out at second there, and that is it. Right now it is 0-0. I like that ball strikes in total pitches. I think that's really cool. Here's Marquise Grissom now. Marquise, we have a few games now underway. Grissom, White, and Alou. Here's David Cone for Toronto. Toronto feels that they could do it, and there's a base hit. So they're going to bring it in. And here's Rondell White. Rondell White, the left fielder. So Cone, here's Rondell. That'll be, oh, it's going to be an error. Olerud, and it goes through him. And 2 will be on the first error of the year for Toronto. A lot of people have said their defense is something to be looked at. Their pitching is good, their hitting is good, but it's their defense. And here's Moises Alou. Moises, and that's going to be to left field, but it's going to be caught by the shortstop. Alfredo Griffin, and 1 out. 2 on, 1 out, bottom of the first inning. Larry Walker now. The right fielder, Larry. The pitch. That'll be on the ground. There's 6 and 4, and they're going to get them out 2 outs. So both teams getting a lot of people on base. And here is Barry now, the third baseman, Sean Barry. 21 pitches. And there you go. For David Cone, I like the way it breaks the balls in strikes up there, right there. That's going to be Barry on the ground. Second to first. And that's going to be it. So we go to the second inning. Nobody scores. They put a lot of people on. Second inning, you have Winfield, Maldonado, and Gruber. Remember, third inning we're going to have. That'll be on the ground. This will be third to first. And they get the out. 1 out. We're going to do this very simply. Game options. The speed. .32. And here's Candy, the DH, first batter of the year. First at bat of the year. Maldonado strikes out, and that'll be 2 outs. The battle for Canada, the only international series all year. You play everybody in one 4-game series. And here's Kelly Gruber. Gruber, that'll be on the ground to first. And they'll pick it over and get the out. So we go to the bottom of the second inning. The score, Toronto nothing, Montreal nothing. Bottom of the second inning. Philadelphia has tied San Diego. How about that? Here is Darren Fletcher, the catcher. David Cone, the pitcher. Pat Borders, the catcher. But here's Fletcher, and that'll be second to first, 1 out. And underneath, here's Will Cordero, the shortstop. And Cordero, that'll be a high pop fly, center field. And underneath, caught, 2 outs. Montreal and Toronto settling down a lot of times in these first games here, more aggressive batting. Randy Milligan, first base, and that'll be on the ground, picked up. And thrown to first, 3 outs. We go to the top of the third inning. It's Toronto nothing, Montreal nothing. Here's Pedro Martinez, 7 balls, 15 strikes, 22 pitches. Here is Alfredo Griffin, the shortstop. And Alfredo, that'll be on the ground quickly. And what a stop. They're going to throw to Martinez, and it's an error. So it's an error. Randy Milligan with the error. The throw, it was an error on the throw. Here's Pat Borders and Pedro Martinez now. Borders will be on the ground. 5, 4, 3, and that's going to be 2 outs. Two outs, incredible. And here's Roberto Alomar. And Roberto, and struck him out, and that'll be 3 outs. We go to the bottom of the third inning. The score, Toronto nothing, Montreal nothing. Both these teams, high expectations. A lot of people think that Toronto might be one of the best teams. They are loaded. Montreal might be one of the best teams too. They are both loaded, but Montreal never got to play out their season. David Cone now. That's Mike Lansing deep to center, right center field, and it'll hit the wall, and Lansing will go to second. They throw it in. Mike Lansing with an opening double. And Montreal wants to get their first win of the year here. Marquise Grissom, sometimes your hardest win is your first. Marquise that'll be a bunt right there, pitcher-wise. Cone to Olerud, 1 out. So Lansing to third. Here's Rondell White. He's 0 for 1 today. 0 for 1. That goes away, and now coming home, it's 1-0 Montreal. A tough way to give up a run, and they do it there. Rondell White 0 for 1. He doesn't need to worry. The 3-2. Struck him out, 2 outs. Two outs, and here's Moises Alou, the DH. He's 0 for 1. On the ground, this will be short, all the way over to first, and they get him. So, we go to the 4th inning. It's Montreal 1, Toronto nothing on a wild pitch. Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Philadelphia 6-5 over San Diego. Florida 7-2 over St. Louis. The Dodgers wipe the Pirates out. Doug Drabeck gets killed by Valdez. The Dodgers in 1996. A surprise win by that much. California beat Houston 5-2. Remember, 4 games, and then you move to the next series. Every pitcher gets every team once. Texas 7-6 over Cincinnati in 11. Chicago beating San Francisco 3-1. Atlanta 4-2 over Milwaukee. Kansas City 4-0. They're a one-hitter by Kevin Appier. And what about Kansas City? You don't know. They never finished out that 94 year. The Yankees beat Baltimore 11-8, and that's going to be a nasty robbery. That's a good one. We might have that tomorrow. Cleveland beat Colorado 4-1, and Oakland beat the Mets 5-4. So here we go, opening day. Devon White, 1 for 1 here in the 4th. High and deep to right center. And underneath, that'll be a catch, 1 out. A very, very big pro Montreal crowd. John Olerud, 0 for 1. Struck him out, and that's going to be 2 outs. And here's Joe Carter, the left fielder. And Joe struck him out. So Pedro Martinez doing a good job early. It's 1-0 Montreal. Bottom of the 4th inning, and I'm telling you what right now, that it is Walker, Berry, and Fletcher. Walker, Berry, Fletcher, and that's the biggest thing right now. So David Cone, that'll be a base hit. So they're going to go in, and that's going to be bottom of the 4th inning. A base hit for Montreal. Walker's on first. Larry Walker, the right fielder. Here's Barry. That's going to be a hit to left field deep, and it'll go against the wall. This second one to do it, and David Cone is in trouble. They throw it in, and it'll be first and third now. Second and third. So second and third. You're in the bottom of the 4th, but nobody out. Montreal trying to add to their lead. And here's Darren Fletcher, 0 for 1. David Cone is in trouble. Fletcher, high pop fly. Might do it, might get a run. Let's see. They call it off. They're going to throw it in, and it's going to be 2-0 Montreal. I can tell you that right now. They're going to score on that. That was just too far. 2-0 Montreal. And that's going to be it. 2-0. We go to the 5th inning. Montreal with the lead. So now in the train. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm going to say hi, Drain. Hi, Drain. Good. Great to see you. 108 games. The Drain. I hope I can wave. Yeah, I'll go to channel. Yeah, I'll help out with the Drain. Yeah, of course. So the Drain, good to see you. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Here's Dave Winfield, 0 for 1. 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. Here's Dave. Short. And they're going to throw it all away. They get a 1 out. So Dave Winfield is done there. Here's Candy Maldonado, 0 for 1. And when you look at this, Maldonado struck him out, 2 outs. I'm telling you what, right now, Martinez is looking good, 4 2/3. He's given up only 2 hits, both in the 1st inning. He struck out 6. Here's Kelly Gruber. High pop fly. And this is deep center field, but underneath. That'll be a catch kind of over his head a little bit. And that'll be it. 2-0, bottom of the 5th. Bottom of the 5th inning, Toronto. Montreal leading Toronto 2-0. Montreal 1994. And one of the things is I wanted it to go to the, no, upper left will be good. So actually I want to do this. I want to go over here with this. Toronto visitor will be on top. Home will be on bottom. There. Out of town scoreboard. Will be here. No, it'll be down here. There. A lot on here. So here we go. Mike Lansing will be up bottom of the 5th inning. Struck him out, 1 out. So David Cone, I mean, the first game of the series, always with your number 1 pitcher, that'll be big. Marquise Grissom. 1 for 1 already, 77 pitches for Cone. Grissom, that'll be back in a base hit. So that'll be Marquise Grissom, the center fielder. Has made a few good catches today. He's on first with 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Rondell White, 0 for 2. Rondell, that's going to be to right. And it'll go, and he'll hit it and go into the corner. So let's see what they do. They're going to go around third. They're going to throw it in. They kind of throw it in, and it's going to be 3-0 off a score. I think I'm going to go options, game options, instead of very slow. We're going to go slow. Slow is the real perfect thing. Actually, what we want to do is here. No, we don't want this there. No, we want it right here. So David Cone now. Moises Alou. And they're going to walk Moises. So it's going to be 2 on with 1 out. And Larry Walker, this is big, 1 for 2. They could really blow this open. That's going to be a base hit, and it does blow it open. 1 run will score. They're going to throw home, and it'll go home. And it's going to be safe. It's 4-0. So it is 4-0, 2 runs in this inning. And Sean Berry, 1 for 2. Struck him out, and Berry will sit down. It's going to be 2 outs right now. Montreal looking good. Bottom of the 5th inning, 4-0. And Darren Fletcher 0 for 1. High pop fly, center field. It's going to be close, but it won't go out. It'll be 3 outs. We go to the 6th inning. The score Montreal 4, Toronto 0. 6th inning. There are games just starting. 5th inning, a lot of things going on. Griffin Borders and Alomar. Here's Alfredo Griffin 0 for 1. Pedro Martinez still in. Struck him out, and that's going to be 1 out. Here in the top of the 6th inning. Here's Pat Borders, the catcher, 0 for 1. Martinez has done a great job. Borders will be on the ground. It'll pick up. Oh, and it's an error. It's an error. It's an opening day error. So we have that happen. 1 out, top of the 6th inning. Here's Roberto. Roberto Alomar, 1 for 2. That'll be on the ground. Oh, and he can't do anything now. 2 are on. So that's a first base hit since the 1st inning. And when you look at this lineup, they're going into the meat of it. Devon White, then Sean Olerud, then Carter. I think Toronto needs to do something or else it's over for them. Martinez struck him out in 2 outs. So Devon White looks at strike 3. It'll be 2 outs. And now John Olerud, 0 for 2. The pitch. Struck him out again, and when Martinez needed it, he got the strikeouts. So we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Montreal 4, Toronto 0. Well, they got 2 on there. Nothing happened there. They couldn't do a thing. And here's Will Cordero 0 for 2. Opening day, 108 games. That'll be on the ground. They'll pick it up. 3rd to 1st, 1 out. One out, bottom of the 6th inning. Randy Milligan 0 for 2. The pitch. It'll be on the ground again. 5-3, 2 outs. 2 outs now. We're going to go game options, and it'll be camera movement. We're going to go 44 in this. And we're also going to go very slow, because I think very slow is actually realistic speed. Mike Lansing, second base. Struck him out, and that's going to be it. We go to the 7th inning. The score Montreal 4, Toronto 0. Well, opening days are very big. I understand there's a lot of games, and it's about a lot of things. But right now, Minnesota at the Metrodome, 1st inning, nothing there. Seattle looking good against Chicago. Seattle has a very, very good lineup, and Ken Griffey with the home run. That's big. Philadelphia beat San Diego. Florida won. Dodgers beat the Pirates. California beat Houston. Texas in 11 over Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a very good team. Chicago 3-1. Kansas City's a good team. They beat Boston in 99, 4-0. Atlanta 4-2 over Milwaukee. The Yankees in 98 are a good team, 11-8 over Baltimore. The question is, what about the pitching? Cleveland 4-1 over Colorado, and Oakland 5-4 over New York. It doesn't matter you got 6. You want to be in the first 2 to get the. Here's Carter, Winfield, Maldonado. The first 2 get byes, and then it's best of 7 ever since then. And that'll be 1 out to right field. So Larry Walker with the catch. Dave Winfield now. Winfield, the right fielder, the 3-1. That's going to be Winfield to left field, and that's going to hit the corner. And a base hit here. Martinez giving up a little bit. You can see a lot of people here for opening day. Wow, I will tell you that it's a little bit too slow. So we're going to go slow. That was way too slow. Candy Maldonado now, the DH. And they're going to walk him. So Maldonado to first, 4-0, 2 on, 1 out. The second straight inning. Kelly Gruber, the third baseman. He had longer hair. Martinez getting deep into the pitch count. Did he go? And no, he didn't. Now the bases are loaded, and the question is, do you let Martinez in? They're going to keep him in. And here's Alfredo Griffin in the top of the 7th with 1 out. Griffin, the pitch. They walk him, and it's going to be 4-1. And there is concern here. New pitcher Tim Scott will come in. Tim Scott, bases loaded with 1 out. Top of the 7th inning, Pat Borders. The pitch. Struck him out, 2 outs. Well, Toronto needs a big base hit now by Roberto Alomar. They need something here, and Tim Scott, he's got to do something. Here it is. And it hits it. It's got to be an error. It is the 3rd error of the day for Montreal. The 3rd error, and that is tough. It's 4-2. 4-2. Hits off him, Devon White, the center fielder. High pop fly a little bit, though, and they run in and catch it. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, Montreal 4, Toronto 2. So bottom of the 7th inning. I think that's the organ playing. Mike Timlin will be in. Timlin is the relief pitcher, Grissom, White, and Alou. So Grissom is 2 for 2. They want to bring in Timlin. They don't want to start anything. Grissom on the ground to Olerud. That'll be 1 out, bottom of the 7th. A 4-2 game, a lot of errors, 4 errors in this game. And Rondell White. Here's Rondell White now. The pitch. Struck him out, and that's going to be 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 outs, and Moises. Moises Alou, the DH. Struck him out, and that's going to be strike 3. So in the bottom of the 7th inning, Montreal has stopped. They've done nothing, and it's now 4-2. So Tim Scott is in. He's going to try and get 3 outs. He's got Olerud, Carter, and Winfield. Toronto wants to get people on. They were down 4-0. It's 4-2 now. Here's Scott now. If he can go 1, 2, 3, that'd be big. But Olerud to left. Underneath, and that'll be called 1 out. Kind of a line drive. And that'll be called 1 out. Here in the top of the 8th. Here's Joe Carter. Carter is 0 for 3. Not a good start. And that'll be a strikeout, 2 outs. He gets the hat trick in a row. In a row. And here comes Dave Winfield. Top of the 8th with 2 on. Can he get the tying run? Up. Struck him out, and Tim Scott looking good. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 4-2. Montreal looking for insurance. Now, looking. Drain was in. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. Larry Walker, 2 for 3. Struck him out. That's going to be 1 out. They're looking to try and get something. Right now, Mike Timlin is in. And here's Sean Barry, 1 for 3. And Barry, that's going to be to right field. Caught, though, on the line drive. So Dave Winfield with the catch, 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th inning, Darren Fletcher, the catcher, 0 for 2. High and deep to center, but it's going to be caught, 3 outs. Well, that's it. We got one more. Devon White with the catch. One more, and this thing could be over. It will be over. Maldonado, Gruber, and Griffith, and this is it. John Wetland will come in to close it out. Wetland coming in to close it out. Candy Maldonado. And here it is. Maldonado to right field. And underneath, it's going to be called 1 out. One out in the top of the 9th. Kelly Gruber. Nobody is on. Trying to get somebody on as the tying run. Wetland to Gruber. High pop fly. And underneath, nobody's getting on. There's 2 outs. And now Toronto's down to their final out. The final out, Alfredo Griffin, the shortstop. As they're about ready to go, Alfredo is the only RBI for Toronto. And here we go. High into right field, but on enough, and Larry Walker will win the game for Montreal. Montreal wins the game 4-2. A solid game, a very solid game in which Montreal played well. They held off Toronto early, and really held them off, and then kind of held off Toronto late. They held them off, shut down Toronto, and in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, and in the 9th inning, nothing there. Your final is 4-2. And Montreal, you take a look, Pedro Martinez, player of the game. Martinez, 6 1/3. A .242 game. Walker and Grissom for Montreal, multiple hits. Alomar for Toronto. Opening day, it's like, what do you do? You know, just very, very beginning. So it's a good series, but a lot of errors early. It is the very beginning. So now what we're going to do is we'll take a look at all the games. Taking a look right now, it's the Indians beating the Rockies 4-1. Taking a look, Burks, Bell looking good. Charles Nagy, the pitcher, 8 innings. And, well, he looked good. Indians go 1-0. The New York Mets now and the Oakland A's. The Jose Canseco, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. He had a home run. You know, you look at this, New York, the Mets, Al Leiter, was just a bad day for all the pitchers. I don't know why Bob Welsh came in for Otto. But anyway, a 5-4 game. Big for Oakland in the beginning. And then Montreal, the Mets came back, tied it, top of the 8th inning. That was it. The Braves and the Brewers. The Braves looking good over the Brewers. I mean, lots of single hits, nobody with doubles. Greg Maddux. With that, we go to the here, Baltimore, New York. We're going to have this game tomorrow. It was 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 9-2, 9-5, 9-6, 10-6, 11-6, 11-8. And you take a look, Cal Ripken went 4 for 5. A lot of Baltimore and New York type things, and Cal Ripken Jr. right there. They had a rain delay of 63 minutes in the 3rd inning. Oh, it was crazy. The Royals are a good team. When you look at this, McRae, Gaetti, Hamilton, Joyner, Wally Joyner, Henderson, Dave Henderson, Howard, Greg Gagne. I mean, there are a lot of World Series winners here. And they one-hit them. Kevin Apier. And it beat Pedro, the other Pedro Martinez. So Apier, what a day there. Look for I think the Royals might be one of the most understated teams. The Cubs and the Giants. The Cubs got all the runs in one inning, not many hits. Barry Bonds, he's in this league. Mark Grace had a home run and 3 RBIs, but Kerry Wood, 73 there. How about the Reds? They were down 6-0. They were up 6-0, and Texas scored 7 straight. How about that? Wow. Texas doesn't have a bad team. They don't. And Mickey tuttled it on there. And Jose Rio, the player of the game, but Randy Myers, Rob Dibble gets the loss. Norm Charlton, he blew the save, got the loss. Jose Rio got the player of the game. He had a 56. Let's take a look at the Dodgers beat the Pirates 7-1. They 3 at the Pirates. It's like Bonds Bonilla. That's a good team. Slaw, Merced, Bell. And DeShields, Butler, Piazza, Mondesi. Well, you never know. They're on the road. Ishmael Valdez for L.A. A surprise, but they look very good doing it. The Angels and the Astros, 5-2. 2 insurance in the 8th. You look at Alou inspires Moises Alou in Houston. Boy, that's going to be big there. California. Randy Johnson for Houston. He's 0-1, and but he got player of the game. He had a 57. So here we go. We had 2 complete games already. Randy, there. We're playing by normal strategies. Philadelphia, they won 6-5. What a comeback by the Phillies. 4 in the top of the 9th and 1 in the top of the 10th. Philadelphia's a good team. They are. San Diego, you have Tony Gwynn. Well, that's huge. Kevin Brown, good. Kurt Schilling. Both these teams solid, but I think Philadelphia might be a title contender. The Marlins, 7-2. Shut out St. Louis. St. Louis didn't really have a good they have some good players, but, Florida was loaded. They really were. So Florida was like the Yankees. They're going to be good. Kevin Brown with the win there. Well, we did the Expos and Blue Jays. The Mariners, 3-0 over Chicago. Uh, 3-0. Chicago is a solid team. They made the ALCS in '93. And Seattle, they're young, but they're good there. They do have holes in their lineup. But Randy Johnson is also a pitcher here in '97 for them. And he had a heck of a game. He's going to be really good. He had an 85 rating. And then finally, Minnesota. They're an offensive powerhouse. This 91 team is good. They're very good. They're very good. Harper and Bush with home runs. For Detroit, you have Alan Trammell, Whitaker, Cecil Fielder. You have a lot of good players right now, but Kevin Tapani with the win. Matt Leiter barely got anything. Brian Harper there. It was 6-1 in there. So, players of the day, Randy Johnson, number 1. Kevin Apier, number 2. Kevin Brown, number 3. When you look at statistics, this is going to be your batting leaders. It's early. You get to take a look at everybody here. Pitching leaders. It's early. You're not going to get much. Fielding already airs. Jay Bell had one. I mean, for the Pirates, it's the streaks. You can always slow this down if you want. And now standings. So, I mean, what are you going to say out of that right now? The Dodgers a +6 in run difference. Minnesota and Florida, no. Maybe other things that they put in there. It's beginning. It's the first game. There's 108 games. I will say the Pirates' loss is the biggest, the -6. You could go 1-1. That's fine. No All-Star game in this one because you play everybody 4 times. We want the best teams playing in the top 6. So, I mean, it's very beginning here. Taking a look at the scores here, I mean, we're going to open it up. I want to take a look at Baltimore and New York. There it is, New York and Baltimore. In Baltimore, Orlando Hernandez against Scott Erickson. I mean, that's a real good rivalry in the 90s. And a lot of these teams that were rivals, they're playing peak time versus peak time. So it's going to be very interesting. Baltimore does not like New York. You only play every team in one 4-game series in a year. So Baltimore and New York play would be for the whatever. They would play for the... You're playing 27 series, so each pitcher has 27 starts. So the next time they play would be in the playoffs if they meet. Right now, Baltimore and New York, 1-0. I don't know. We're going to do that next, probably. New York and Baltimore. All right, that's going to be it for us today. I mean, Orlando Hernandez versus Scott Erickson. Have a great day. We'll see you later.